Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaura Pimanandi, Dayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa, Parivrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Samadhi's Divine Grace, Shilabhai Charanarvind Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skan BBT Founder Acharya's Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samavata Bhakta Vrinda ki, Hari Nama Sankirtan ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jainita Gaura Pimanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksuranmiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhuktale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vansakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayasha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavatu tamashloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamhitam Utamashloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasya Namaha. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara, Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Asrabhyaya Namaha. Om Asrabhyaya Namaha. Om Asrabhyaya Namaha. Mukam karoti vasalam pangam langayate girim Yatkripatamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripatamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today is Monday, 24th of January 2022, and today in our Vaishnav calendar, it is the disappearance of Sri Jayadev Goswami. So at the end of the class, we'll read a few things in remembrance of Sri Jayadeva Goswami. Today we continue from Canto number 2, Chapter 2, entitled The Lord in the Heart, and we are reading text number 17, 1-7. Na yatra kalo animisham paraha prabhuhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire na yatra sattvam na rajas tamash cha na vai vikaro na mahan pradhanam nayatra kalo nimisham para prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire. Na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha savai vikaro namahan pradhanam. Na yatra kalo nimisham paraprabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire. Ishire. Yeah. Na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro namahan pradhanam. Na yatra kalo nimisham para prabhu kuto na deva jagatam ya ishire. Na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro namahan pradhanam. Na yatra kalo nimisham para prabhu kuto nu deva jagatam ya ishire. Na yatra sattvam na rajastamascha na vai vikaro namahan pradhanam. Na, not, yatra, wherein, kala, destructive time, animisham, of the heavenly demigods, paraha, superior, prabhu, controller, kutaha, where is there? No, certainly, devaha, the demigods, jagatam, the mundane creatures, ye, those, ishire, rules, na, not, yatra, therein, sattvam, mundane goodness, na, nor, rajaha, mundane passion, tamaha, mundane ignorance, cha, also, na, not, vai, certainly, vikaraha, transformation, na, nor, mahan, the material causal ocean, pradhanam, material nature. A translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. In that transcendental state of labdho pashanti, there is no supremacy of devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures, and what to speak of the demigods themselves. Nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material causal ocean, nor the material nature. Kindly repeat after me. In that transcendental state of labdho pashanti, there is no supremacy of devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures, and what to speak of the demigods themselves. nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material causal ocean, nor the material nature. Purport. Yes, this word, labdho prashanti, was in yesterday's, the word, was in yesterday's text 16. Prabhupada made reference in the purport as well, and now this is being further elaborated upon. Purport, devastating time which controls even the celestial demigods by its manifestations of past, present and future, does not act on the transcendental plane. The influence of time is exhibited by the symptoms of birth, death, old age and disease. And these four principles of material conditions are present everywhere in any part of the material cosmos, up to the planet Brahmaloka, where the duration of life of the inhabitants appears to us to be fabulous. Insurmountable time even brings about the death of Brahma. So what to speak of other demigods like Indra, Chandra, Surya, Vayu, and Varuna? The astronomical influence directed by the different demigods over mundane creatures is also conspicuous by its absence. In material existence, the living entities are afraid of satanic influence. Are afraid of Satan influence. But for a devotee on the transcendental plane, there is no such fear at all. The living entities change their material bodies in different shapes and forms under the influence of the different modes of material nature. But in the transcendental state, the devotee is gunatita, or above the material modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Thus, the false ego of I am the Lord of all I survey does not arise there. In the material world, the false ego of the living entities or of the living being trying to lord it over the material nature is something like the moths falling in a blazing fire. The moth is captivated by the glaring beauty of the fire, and when he comes to enjoy it, the blazing fire consumes him. In the transcendental state, the living being is pure in his consciousness, and as such, he has no false ego to lord it over the material nature. Rather, his pure consciousness directs him to surrender unto the Supreme Lord, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:9. Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudolabha. All this indicates that in the transcendental state, there is neither material creation nor the causal ocean for material nature. The above mentioned state of affairs, so Prabhupada is describing the transcendental realm, which is beyond this material world, beyond the influence of the modes of material nature, beyond the influence of the time factor. So this is the second paragraph here of the purport. The above mentioned state of affairs is factual on the transcendental plane, but is factually revealed in a transcendentalist knowledge of the advanced state of pure consciousness. So Prabhupada is describing, the text is describing the condition beyond this material world. And here Prabhupada is explaining how if one, although not in that spiritual world, even one may still be here in the material world, by purified consciousness, one can know about this condition. Such transcendentalists are of two types, namely the impersonalists and the devotees. For the impersonalists, the ultimate goal or destination is the Brahmajyoti of the spiritual sky. But for the devotees, the ultimate goal is the Vaikuntha planets. The devotees experience the above mentioned state of affairs by attainment of spiritual forms for activity in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. It is very important. The devotees experience the above mentioned state of affairs, transcendental realm, by attainment of spiritual forms for activity in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So in order to also have activity or experience activity on the transcendental realm in the spiritual world, there is reference here to spiritual forms. It means we have living entity is a spiritual living entity, personal. But the impersonalist, because of his neglecting the association of the Lord, does not develop a spiritual body for spiritual activity, but remains a spiritual spark only, merged in the effulgent spiritual rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is why it explains that the position of a transcendentalist who, or impersonalist, two types of transcendentalists, as explained here by Srila Prabhupada, the impersonal transcendentalist and then the Vaishnav. So the impersonal transcendentalist may merge into the Brahmajyoti, but he cannot develop his spiritual form. His spiritual form remains covered, hidden, unknown, and therefore that position is temporary. The so-called mukti is not actually the final mukti. It is temporary mukti, we can say, from the material world. Temporary, because one is not engaged in activity. After some time, from that position, one again falls down within the material sphere to again be caught up in material activities. The Lord is a full-fledged form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. Ishvara Paramakrishna Satchit Ananda Vigraha. This is explained here. But the formless Brahmajyoti is simply eternity and knowledge. Yeah, that's also mentioned. Only the devotees of the Lord can experience the third aspect of transcendence, which is Ananda. Yeah. The Vaikuntha planets are also forms of eternity, bliss and knowledge, and therefore the devotees of the Lord who are admitted into the abode of the Lord also get bodies of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As such, there is no difference between one and another. The Lord's abode, name, fame, entourage, etc. are of the same transcendental quality. And how this transcendental quality differs from the material world is explained herewith in this verse. In the Bhagavad Gita, 3 principal subjects have been explained by Lord Sri Krishna, namely Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. But one can reach the Vaikuntha planets by the practice of Bhakti Yoga only. So, both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga is insufficient to reach the Vaikuntha planets. And the last line of the purport, the other two means Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are incompetent in helping one reach the Vaikuntha Lokas, although they can, however, conveniently take one to the effulgent Brahmajyoti as described above. So reading the translation again, in that transcendental state of labdho pashanti, there is no supremacy of devastating time, which controls even the celestial demigods who are empowered to rule over mundane creatures. So, yeah, in that transcendental state, that is, there is no past, present, and future in terms of time. There is eternal present. And what to speak of the demigods themselves, nor is there the mode of material goodness, nor passion, nor ignorance, nor even the false ego, nor the material causal ocean, nor the material nature. It means there's nothing material whatsoever in the spiritual world of Vaikuntha and the Vaikuntha planets. And as mentioned in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, this is only attainable by one who is fortunate to come in contact with the process of bhakti, which takes generally, as referred to in the purport by Srila Prabhupada, many lifetimes. Bahunam janamanam ante jnanabhamam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sadulabha. So this is what is actually awaiting the normally you have the clock here. I thought I saw it a little earlier. Oh, it is hiding. Yeah. So this is what is awaiting actually the devotees of the Lord. Prabhupada mentions here also in the purport that one who has this developed consciousness therefore becomes fearless and is not in the material existence. Living entities are afraid of satanic influence. Yeah. Ordinary living entities in the material world who are under the influence of the modes of material nature, they're constantly in fear and anxiety because of all kinds of negative influences. Satan is in reference to Maya. But for a devotee on the transcendental plane, there is no such fear at all. So that's why Bhaja Hurimana Srinandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. For one who is actually transcendentally situated, who is fully surrendered to the Lord, who is fully absorbed in devotional activities, for him there is no such fear or anxiety because one actually becomes protected from the influence of Maya. So this is only possible for one who actually fully surrenders to the Lord. So our goal is to come to that position of fully surrendering, knowing that actually, as nicely explained in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is only possible when we take up to the process of bhakti. Just want to read a few references here. Let's see if we can find the reference to the Jayadeva Goswami. Yes. There are 15 references in the folio. We know that, yes, I'll just read here. In one letter, Srila Prabhupada is referring to Srila Jayadeva Goswami. Mentioning about his devotion actually to his worshipable deity of Sri Sri Radha Madhava. Yes. And Goswami Jayadev, this is mentioned here, from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, that in one of the purports, that the Goswami Jayadev remarked in his famous Gita Govinda, in the occasion Sri Krishna is leaving the arena of Rasalila for searching out Srimati Radharani as follows: the enemy of Kamsa, Krishna, left all other damsels of Braja, leaving in his mind Srimati Radharani, who is the crust of the most fascinating transcendental pastime, Rasalila. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually Jayadev Goswami appeared before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would refer to Jayadeva Goswami and would be quoting also the Gita Govinda composed by Sri Jayadeva Goswami. And let's see here. And one of our devotees had written in the ISKCON Communications as follows. Yeah, this is probably written by Krishna Lila Dasi, in an article written, the Gaudiya Vaishnav concept of literature. Very interesting title. And here it is. I will cite three examples. The first is Jayadev's Gita Govinda. Although this work was written well before the appearance of Chaitanyaism, before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, it can be completely connected with or to its spirituality. The second is Rupa Goswami's Rama Lalita Madhava, and the third is Bhaktivinoda's song book entitled Sharanagati. If we wish to apply Tibor Fabini's terminology, we could say the architect of these works is the Bhagavat Purana, the Vaishnava scripture presenting Krishna's life and acts. However, the three super texts contain elements that cannot be found in the architects. For example, it is Jayadev who in the Vaishnava tradition states for the first time what the Bhagavat only alludes to, namely that those who love Krishna have a power over him. From From among these persons, the foremost is Radha, who later in the Gaudiya tradition will become one of the supreme objects of religious devotion. So actually, this interesting subject matter regarding the understanding of of the position of Radha and Krishna. It's a very involved subject matter. But it means that even before the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who especially revealed the intimate position and intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna, even before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, personalities like Jayadev Goswami in various literatures and songs that he composed were making reference to these subject matters. Is very what is called esoteric, very, very deep subject matters. And as we read a little earlier, Jayadev Goswami was especially his worshipable deity was Shri Sri Radha Madhava. So any comment or question on the text? Yeah?
Who want to go to Brahmajyoti, impersonalist?
Impersonalists who wish to go to Brahmajyoti, yeah?
There also, as I mentioned, they have a specific time to go there. Because the reception yesterday was that there is a particular time to go to.
There's a particular time to go there. It means from a material calculation, yeah, we were discussing yesterday that there are certain more auspicious times to leave than other times. Yeah.
So the question is, the impersonalists also want to go to Brahmajyoti.
Huh?
Impersonalists who want to go to Brahmajyoti.
Yeah.
They also have to select the specific time.
The question is whether the impersonalists who want to go to Brahmajyoti have to select a specific time. Not necessarily. They can. But if they have been cultivating the impersonal concept of the Absolute Truth, then at some particular time, if that, because Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever state of mind one has developed, or one has at the moment of leaving the body, to that state he will attain. So there are some advanced yogis who can leave their body at will, and there are others who are practicing spiritual life, but still on the impersonal platform. So they may not leave at will, but if their consciousness is impersonal realization, then they will attain that level also. Yeah.
Because for the devotee there is no time, because there is a pure devotee, so he can.
For the devotees, there is no such calculation of time, and a devotee who is fully surrendered to the Lord is directly taken care of by the Lord. Krishna explains how I take direct care of my surrendered devotees. So therefore, we are not concerned about when we may be leaving. Yeah. So for devotee, that is not applicable. Yeah. Okay. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Sri Prabhupada ki